The Portugal Golden Residence Permit Investment Plan. In the following section, we're going to discuss the renewal application procedure. The Portuguese Residence Permit Investment Program is in the form of 1+2+2. That is, the first residence permit issued by SEF is valid for a 1-year period. Then the applicant must apply to renew their residence permit card at the end of their first year. At this time, the applicants must go to Portugal to apply for renewal. The second Golden Residence Permit card issued by SEF is valid for 2 years, and the date of commencement of the second card is the same as the expiration date of the first card. According to the Immigration Act, the applicant can submit the renewal application within 3 months before the expiration of their residence permit. Some of the documents that need to be prepared by all applicants: a copy of the residence permit card, so the applicants must retain the original card and do not need to submit it to SEF, but must submit a copy of the card. The passport. The passport should be valid for at least 6 months, and the applicants need to provide a copy of the passport. There must be at least 2 blank visa pages in the passport. Private medical insurance. The applicants do not need to purchase full medical insurance when they submit their first application documents, but if the applicants want to reside in Portugal for an extended time, it is recommended that they purchase medical insurance, as SEF may check if they are insured. And no criminal record. If the applicants have lived in a third country for at least 1 year, the applicants need to provide a non-criminal record issued by the relevant authorities of that country. Note, the criminal record is only valid for 3 months. The following are the documents needed to meet the residence requirement. So according to the Residence Permit Act, all applicants are required to meet the residence requirements before submitting their renewal application. All applicants are required to stay for continued or accumulated 7 days in Portugal within the 1-year period, and submit a residence certificate before submitting the first renewal application. All applicants are required to stay for continued or accumulated 14 days in Portugal within the 2-year period and submit a residence certificate before submitting the second renewal application. Note, applicants must meet the residence requirements in Portugal with their residence permit and provide a residence certificate. Then the residence certificate can be regarded as an applicant's valid documentation. If the applicant has not yet obtained the residence permit or the validity of the card has expired, the residence certificate provided will not be accepted by SEF. The applicants need to retain the following documents as their residence certificate: round-trip tickets or boarding passes to Lisbon. Applicants who have tax numbers shall issue the daily consumption invoices and the invoices of accommodation with a tax number. For the applicants under 18 years old who do not have a tax number, they need to issue the daily consumption invoices and the invoices of accommodation with their own names. Note, each applicant needs to provide a residence certificate. The daily consumption invoices include taxi invoices, shopping invoices, food invoices, and other services used in Portugal. The following are some of the documents that only the main applicant needs to prepare, such as the proof of living guarantee. So according to the minimum living standard in Portugal, it's recommended that each year the main applicant deposits into their Portuguese bank account 6,000 euros for themselves as well as for each of their dependents. The documents that dependents need to prepare include, for the spouse, a marriage certificate; for children under 18 years of age, a birth certificate, a parental statement for permission to apply for a residence permit. Children over 18 years of age will need a birth certificate, proof of not being married, also proof of being a student, and as well as the proof of being financially dependent on the main applicant. The main applicant's parents under 65 years old will require a birth certificate of the main applicant or his or her spouse, and proof of being financially dependent. As well as the main applicant's parents over 65 years old will need the birth certificate of the main applicant or his or her spouse. Note, the application documents of the dependents need to be submitted to the notary office and translated into Portuguese. Later, the documents need to be notarized by the two countries' embassies. There are two ways to notarize the marriage certificate. The main applicant or his or her spouse will present the original file and a copy of their marriage certificate at the notary office. Then the notary shall check whether the original and the copy of the marriage certificate are identical. If the main applicant or his or her spouse's marriage certificate is lost, or the marriage certificate cannot be used for notarization, they can go to the notary office to do the marriage entity notarization. Note, this document is valid for 6 months from the date of notarization. There are two ways to notarize the birth certificate. The applicants who need to provide the birth certificate shall present the original and the copy of the birth certificate issued by the hospital at the notary office. Then the notary checks whether the two documents are identical. Finally, the notary issues the birth certificate. If the applicant cannot provide the birth certificate, the applicant and his or her parents shall do the birth entity notarization at the notary office. Note, this document is valid for 6 months from the date of notarization. Statement of guardian's permission for a child to apply for a residence permit. If a child applies for the residence permit with only one of their parents, the guardian of the child who does not apply for the residence permit needs to write a statement that they approve of their child applying for the residence permit with another guardian. If the parents of the child both apply for the residence permit, this document is not required. Statement of guardian's permission for a child to apply for a residence permit. Proof of studies. The full-time student status provided by schools accredited by the Ministry of Education. Proof of financial dependence. Main applicants must write a statement and provide other documents, such as living expenses, tuition or medical expenses, to prove that their children, parents, or spouse's parents are financially dependent on the main applicant. The following are the documents that the lawyer assists all the applicants to prepare. First being the public deed or the promissory agreement of the property. The public deed issued by the Portuguese Land Registry or the promissory agreement registered by the local notary office. Payment vouchers. Payment vouchers of at least 500,000 euros issued by the Portuguese bank. A no debt statement. Document issued by the Portuguese Tax Department and the Social Security Department certifying that the applicant has no debt in Portugal. Declaration of honesty. A document drafted by the lawyer and signed by the applicants that states that they are willing to apply for their residence permit. An application form for the residence permit. Letter of responsibility. The main applicant is required to sign their name in the official accountability letter for their dependents, declaring they will be responsible for them. Note, in time, it takes about 1 week to notarize the documents, while it takes about 4 weeks to notarize the documents of double notarization. Document validity. All documents need to be submitted to SEF within the period of validity of the documents. Submission of documents. SEF has the right to require the applicants to update or supplement the relevant documents. This includes, but is not limited to, the documents mentioned above. Suggestion. Applicants should provide accurate information and make sure that the information is not altered, or it may affect the application process and the result. The lawyer will book an appointment with SEF to submit the application for the residence permit. The appointment with SEF will be set before the applicants go to Portugal to submit their applications. SEF will send an appointment letter to the lawyer, and the letter will be delivered to the applicants via their agency. The applicants can then purchase their tickets to confirm their trip to Portugal. The applicants must have a legal visa to enter Portugal. Apart from the above mentioned documents, the applicant can bring all their documents in person when entering Portugal, or have all the documents sent to the lawyer in Portugal with the assistance of the agency. Then the applicant will also bring a hard copy of the appointment letter. The applicants pay the case filing fee at the SEF office accompanied by their lawyer and submit their documents and biometric information. The fee will be a little over 520 euros for the main applicant and a little over 81 euros for each dependent. SEF stipulates that the main applicants must go to Portugal to open a file. SEF will receive the applicant's renewal documents after opening a file. It is recommended that dependents open a file together with the main applicant. If the dependents cannot open a file by themselves, the lawyers on behalf of them will open the file and submit the documents. In this case, SEF may reject the renewal application of the dependents, but once the renewal application of the dependents is approved, SEF requires the main applicant, accompanied with the dependents, go to the Portuguese embassy. There, the main applicant will sign the accountability letter of supervision, and the dependents pay the filing fee and get their residence visa, and then provide their biometric information and pay the fees for their cards. SEF requires that the applicant needs to appoint the date of renewal application within 30 to 90 days before their residence permit expires. If the applicant makes an appointment within 30 days before the residence permit expires, they will need to pay a fine, approximately 37.5 euros per person. SEF requires that all renewal documents of the applicants need to be submitted within 10 days. It's recommended that all the renewal documents of the applicant be prepared before submitting the renewal application and submitted on the date of opening a file at the SEF. According to new regulations of the Portuguese SEF, the relevant departments need to reply for the results of a renewal application within 60 days. SEF approves the application for the Golden Residence Permit after reviewing all the documents of the applicants. SEF will send the letter to the lawyer's email, then the lawyer sends the letter to the agency, then to the applicants. The lawyer assists the applicants to apply for a card authorization, and the bank will send the authorization document to the main applicant's email. Then the applicants inform the agency to guide them to sign the document. The main applicants send the authorized email to the bank, and the lawyer gets the check from the bank and pays the money to SEF. It usually takes 1 to 2 months to complete the card after the fees are paid. The second residence permit will be valid for 2 years. Welcome to Portugal,
欢迎来
and
到
thank
葡
you.
萄牙，感谢您的聆听。